I recently flew with my dog Sami from Europe to the USA for the first time, and in this video I'm talking about what documents I needed to prepare before our big trip. So if you're planning to fly with your pup to America as well, this is the only video you need to watch. I'm gonna tell you everything I learned. Figuring out what documents I needed to bring a pet into the United States was one of the most confusing and frustrating experiences ever, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there and basically nobody knows anything for sure. So it took me a while to figure everything out, and at the end of this video I'm going to share with you the sources where I got all my information so you can check them out too. It turns out that the most important document I needed was a health certificate, also known as CVI, Certificate of Veterinary Inspection, that needs to be issued within 30 days before the flight. The dog also needs to have a microchip and a valid rabies vaccine administered no sooner than 21 days before the flight. Now, Sami already has a microchip and he got his rabies shot about a month before the flight date, so all that was easy. However, getting Sami's health certificate was an entire adventure, and here's why. I just got Sami's health certificate for the flight. This was mission impossible in so many ways, I can't even tell you. So this health certificate is the most important document that you need to have when you travel to the United States from Europe. This is the main document that they're going to look at. It's the only document that they ask to see. This has the information of the rabies vaccine, the microchip number, the name of the owner, all of that. So we don't have this in Europe. We have the pet passports. That's how we've been traveling with Sami all over Europe. But in the United States, they don't accept the pet passport, at least not in the state of New York. So what they require is that this health certificate is issued by the country that you're traveling from. So I asked my vet and she told me that I have to contact the National Veterinary and Food Department here in Portugal. And they are the ones supposed to be issuing the health certificate. So I call them and they tell me that they don't have this certificate, and in their database, it says that to enter the United States, you don't need this health certificate. You just need the pet passport. And I knew this wasn't true because I checked from 100 different sources, including other people with dogs who traveled from Europe to the United States. I talked to the Department of Agriculture and Animals in New York, and they also confirmed that, yes, you need the health certificate. So here I was trying to get this document, and no one in Portugal had any idea where I could get it from. So what I ended up doing was I contacted the New York Department for Agriculture and Animals, and they sent me their own form, which is this document that I just showed you. They sent this to me over email. I had my vet fill it out with Sami's details, and then I went back to the General Direction of Veterinary and I asked them to please validate this document if possible, put a stamp and sign it, so that when we enter the United States, there won't be any kind of problem. So my biggest worry is that after a 10-hour flight, we're going to get there and they're going to say, oh, we're sorry, you know, this is just, we see your vet's signature here, but you should have a stamp from, you know, Portugal or whatever. So I just really don't want that to happen. So I took all the precautions to avoid that from happening. Also, the reason why I did this last minute is that even though this certificate is supposed to be issued 30 days prior to traveling, 30 days or less, I found out recently that the dog needs to be dewormed 5 days or less before the trip. And the deworming information needs to be here on the health certificate. I'm just going to cut in here real quick to say that this is not true. I was misinformed. I got this information from the National Veterinary Institute of Portugal. They emailed me and told me that my dog needs proof of deworming 5 days or less before the trip, and it turned out that this was not accurate. When I got to the US, I asked them at the border, and I'm going to tell you later in this video what they said, but I just wanted to stop real quick to say, forget this, you don't need to do this. So that meant that I had to do this last minute, because otherwise there would be no proof of deworming. So yeah, fun. Traveling with a dog internationally is so much fun. And one more thing that I have here, aside from the health certificate, because I really wanted to make sure that I've got everything, I also got a record for rabies vaccination and microchip. So this has basically the same info that is on the health certificate, but it's in more detail. And I found this document online on the website for the New York Department of Animals and Agriculture. And they say that while this is not mandatory, it is encouraged to have it. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get this one as well. I think I might be a tad bit over prepared, but I'd rather, be safe than sorry. This is just to show you that if you've been watching our channel and you're thinking that traveling with Sami is so easy and stress-free, well, it's not. Especially this time because it's our first time traveling out of Europe. So as the day approaches, it's a little bit stressful because I need to make sure that I've got everything, all the documents. So yeah, it's probably gonna be, I'm sure everything is gonna be okay. But it is a little bit stressful, I'm not gonna lie. Thankfully, we had no issues entering the USA with Sami. Everything was fine with the documents, and like I was telling you before, they didn't even care about the deworming. When I asked the lady who checked Sami's papers, is it true that you have to show proof of deworming in the last 5 days before the flight? She said that that's not an issue for them. What they care about is that the rabies vaccine is up to date because the USA is a rabies-free country and they basically want to keep it that way. She also mentioned it's important that they confirm that we come from a rabies-free country as well and that we haven't traveled to any countries with high risk of rabies in the past 6 months, in which case there's a whole separate procedure for that. So deworming, they couldn't care less. After that, she quickly checked the details on Sami's health certificate and she let us through in less than 5 minutes. Here's me and Sami right after we officially entered the US. So here are the sources I checked to find out what documents I needed and what the rules are for bringing a pet into the United States. The US Department of State, the section of Pets and International Travel, CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, on the section Bringing a Dog into the United States, Delta Airlines, which is the airline we flew with, and I checked their website to read the guidelines and requirements for carry-on pets. And lastly, this is very important, every state has their own rules for bringing a pet from a foreign country. So since we were traveling to New York, I checked with the Department of Agriculture and Markets of the state of New York to see their requirements for importing a dog from outside the United States. Now, if you find all of this a bit overwhelming, know that you're not alone. I was pretty overwhelmed with it too, so I'm gonna put all the links in the description below to make this easier for you. So to sum up, if you're planning to fly with your pup from Europe to the United States, what you're gonna need is to make sure your dog has a valid rabies vaccine, get a health certificate from a certified vet in your country within 30 days of departure, and remember that each state has specific requirements for bringing in a pet from another country. So make sure you check the requirements for the state you're traveling to. And that's it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment below to say if you're planning to travel with your pup anytime soon. I want to hear all about that. Happy travels and go watch this video next.